back, everyone, to episode 10 of the P&B Show. My name is Preston Sibley. I'm not here joined with my co-host, Benjamin Ramsey. And today my guests are Lulu and Lala from season 33 of The Amazing Race. How are you guys?
We're doing fabulous. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's a delight to see you do what you're doing. So
thank
you for having us.
Anytime. So I want to jump in and just ask, what made you both want to apply to be on the show?
Well, to be honest, they actually came looking for us. We got a DM on Instagram asking whether we would be interested in being on The Amazing Race. Now, we were familiar with the show and we thought, oh my goodness, what a great opportunity. This sounds like a whole lot of fun. So we still had to do the audition process. So that was fun, but at the same time, it's like, oh my goodness, like
is this for real? I mean, we first thought, is this person who's DMing us legit? You know, it's social media. You don't know who to believe. But when we figured out that this was, one of the producers, we were ecstatic. I mean, it's a Emmy award-winning show, many Emmys. And so traveling the world with my best friend Lala over here, and then being able to see different cultures, we were like, sign us up.
Exactly. But like I said, you do have to go through the audition and you meet with the producers and they ask you all these types of questions. And, we were a little nervous because you don't really know what they're looking for. So it got to a point where we're like, are we going to be good enough for this? But luckily it was.
Yeah. It was pretty cool when we flew to Los Angeles. You see a bunch of other contestants and you're not quite sure who's going to make the cut or what is it that they do, because you're not allowed to speak with one another.
Yeah. And they don't really tell you to who the contestants are, but you kind of start figuring out like, all right, these two have a vibe. It looks like they're auditioning as well.
We always kept seeing Arun and Natalia. We were always in the same vicinity of each other. And so
we knew, I'm like, they're probably auditioning too. Like it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your first initial opinion or reaction to just seeing everyone else?
Well, we were definitely sizing everyone up. And I think it's human nature to do that because you kind of want to get a feel of who you're going to be up against. But we definitely thought that Spencer and Anthony were going to be a hard team to beat because they're so physically fit, they're tall.
When we saw Dusty and Ryan, we also thought, okay, these guys are fit, they look like they were built to do the show. When we saw Raquel and Kayla,
we first got happy. I'm like, okay, fine, another girl team that we could kind of maybe connect with. They looked like they, were ready to race. So we always felt like they were a good team.
Well, once we found out that they were flight attendants, we're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so easy for them because they've traveled. They know the how to get around different countries
and airports. Really, that's the main struggle on the race. Luckily for us, we didn't have to do that because we were, they would put us up in a charter plane coming back the second time around. But overall, we thought it was a fun cast.
Yeah, we all got along pretty well. I mean, Arun and Natalia, I saw them and it reminded me of the relationship that we have with her dad.
Kim and Penn, I mean, they were like the mom and dad of the group, and they're just so funny too. Like even when they're mad, they're funny. So it was a great dynamic that those two have.
Sherry and Awkward, I mean, they are from Jersey, so they kind of had the same type of vibe and accent that we had. So we connected with them as well. I mean, honestly, we connected with everybody.
It was a good cast, I have to say. It's nice to see everyone, we read comments and stuff, and everyone seems to have like a nice opinion of the cast this season. Yeah, it was.
So I was saying to the others that everyone this season had like a unique story, right? And and everyone kind of connected and related to each other. It was all similar, right? Now leading up to filming, basically, what was preparation like for you two?
Well, I mean, we do work in radio and it could get hectic at times. So we did prepare. I mean, we started running a lot more because we knew we had to build that stamina and cardio, endurance. We lifted, weights here and there.
A couple of weights, nothing too dramatic.
We did we bought books with different countries and the capitals just to start memorizing them and the flags. We learned to tie rope certain different ways. We did certain little quirky things. We could have done a lot more, but we felt like
it's gonna suck the fun out of the adventure that the Amazing Race is. So, obviously, you want to be prepared physically, and you want to know different capitals of the countries. You want to know the basic, but we didn't want to suck the fun out of going into a new country and figuring it out by yourselves.
So we did what we thought was best for us.
We also watched a couple of episodes.
We didn't just watch a
couple of seasons
just to know, like, okay, this is how the race is ran. Let's look out for this and the roadblocks and whatnot.
It's kind of like once they find a way to make the show work, they're kind of going to stick on the same route, right? Unless they really decide to change it up completely. But then you kind of get the pattern of what's going to be happening, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you flew to London to start, and once Phil said go, what was going through your mind?
Game time. Like the first episode, they took us to this airport, and then they took us to this place where we had to run to the cabs. And I'm a faster runner than she is. So we told each other, just go and I'll eventually get to the cab. But as long as you get that first cab so we can get out of there quicker, that's the main goal at that moment. Okay. And it's funny because in that episode, there was like a ditch. A lot of people fell in that ditch while running to the cab, which they didn't show, but it did hold a lot of teams back because, falling with your bags.
I could remember that one moment we're all lined up, Phil's there, his eyebrow is up, and he's about to say, go. It's the butterflies in the stomach and oh my God, this is it. Like we are about to compete for $1 million. It kind of felt like
it was a rush of like fun, but anxiety because you don't know what they're going to have you do. So it's like, all right, let's be prepared to like jump off a cliff, eat something.
I think that when he said the go and we all started running and we got into our cabs, it still didn't hit us like this is it, like we're actually racing. I think about it now and I'm glad you brought it up because it's still surreal to us, like we were on the Amazing Race.
But it was a lot of fun. And then
that moment was
the cabs. We had never been to London, so just even the cab different to us and figuring that out and then seeing how the traffic is and the roads and the signs and the buildings. It was nice. You want to see it and take pictures, but we didn't really get to enjoy any of. Like we ran through Buckingham Palace, and I have no memory. I have nothing to prove that I was there.
I mean, you have a TV show.
I do, but like picture-wise, like it's like a blur.
It's just you just got to go back through each episode and just screenshot post right? Yeah. So you ended up doing the Artist Den as the very first challenge, and what was the strategy like? Kind of going into that and like. I mean, nerve-wracking. It's the first challenge. Just talk to me about that.
Okay, well, we already knew that we were way behind.
No,
at least we thought we were behind. So as soon as we walked in and we saw other teams, we felt a little relieved, but then we felt the pressure like, oh, we need to figure this puzzle up because we need to get the heck out of here. And we knew immediately this is going to be a puzzle and it's a flag. It's the Great Britain flag, but there was a twist to it.
There's like graffiti. So we're like, all right. The challenging part was putting it together and then figuring out if the flag was going to be upside down or not. Because you don't really know.
Okay,
right. I initially wanted to lay it out on the floor and then post it up on the wall. But we were taking too long, I feel like, on the floor. And I feel like that's the first time we started bickering. I like the word bickering better. Because she wanted to keep leaving it on the floor. And I'm like, we're the last ones here. We need to start sticking it up on the wall and figuring it out like that.
However, once we saw the episode back and we saw the mistake that Mike and Mo had made, pasting it on the wall without really knowing we knew that I was right. It was a smart idea to lay it out on the floor first and then put it up piece by piece.
I had said to lay it out on the floor. We just didn't want to take an hour and a half on the floor before putting it up on the wall.
Anyway, it was nice. It was like it really was a race to the end because once we get out of there, we found the Queen and then we had to race to the museum. We did see Mike and Mo. And, it's that gut feeling where like you want to help, but if you do, you could possibly, hold yourself back.
I don't know about you, Lala, but when we were doing that puzzle and we weren't getting it as quickly as I thought we would have, I felt like a dummy. I'm like, seriously, it's a puzzle and we can't figure this out. I mean, how old are we? And then, did you see Mike? I saw Mike and Mo, and I made eye contact with them. And I remember saying, nope, I can't help you. And I went the other way and I told Lala, don't say anything. And that was very hard for us because we like to help everyone, you know, even outside of work, like just it's in our nature to just help people. So to kind of not help them out, we felt this enormous guilt when they were eliminated. I felt we were there when they told them, you know, you've been eliminated, and we wanted to run out and give them a hug, but you know, production was like, no, you have to stay here.
Yeah. So placing 10th in the first episode, what was the thoughts going through your mind? Like, it was one away from being eliminated.
Well, we were relieved. I mean, we knew that it was sucky that we were last, but it was better to be last than to be eliminated.
The first initial thought running through my head was, oh my goodness, what are my coworkers going to think?
Yeah,
because the first thing they told us, well, the one person that knew about it was like, don't get eliminated first. You need to represent all on-air personalities in the States. And so to have done so bad
and to almost get eliminated, you know, it definitely had everyone watching on their toes, but we didn't say anything. We're like, you guys have to watch the show to know whether we get eliminated or not. So that's the first thing that we thought, like, oh, what a sense of relief. At least we're not the first eliminated.
But we did feel like, my goodness, we're gonna have to work 10 times harder on the next, you know, leg, because we need to catch up, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to. Everyone runs a lot faster than we thought,
and it gave us like a sense of like where everybody is at physically. So we definitely felt the pressure.
And that leads me to my next question of, when I spoke to like Raquel and Dusty, and I asked them the same question of, how are you guys feeling after that first episode? From what they said, nobody was expected to run that much or do that much work.
Yeah, it was an eye-opener, because we had ran, you know, we did prepare on a physical aspect, but not as much as I thought, because we were running everywhere. It really took the breath out of me. My asthma started to kick in.
You have that 20-pound bag on you as well that you're running with.
I don't think you can ever really prepare, because you just really don't know what it is you're going to be doing. None of us expected to
run as much as we did. I think this was the season of like running and hiking.
It definitely was like, okay, physically, I know where I stand in this group. We need to pick it up, because we are way behind.
So you guys had public transportation before you guys left, and then came back and it was all like private. What would you have preferred? Did you prefer the public, or did you prefer like being on your own?
Honestly, I'm gonna speak for myself. Lala, I don't know if you have a difference of opinion, but I enjoyed the public transportation because taxi drivers know where they're going, at least for the most part. When you're in a different country, you know, they can help you out trying to get a location. When you're self-driving in a country, you have no idea where anything is at. You probably don't speak the language, or there's a language barrier, and some of us don't know how to read maps. So it was kind of, I enjoyed being able to use the public transportation because it's different from New York.
See, I have a different opinion altogether.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoyed driving because it made us learn more about each other during the ride and what our weaknesses and strengths are.
That's true.
I got to travel. I got to drive in different countries. Like I could say I drove through Scotland. I drove through Switzerland, you know, and also the charter plane. Like we were able to chat with the rest of the teams while we were flying on that private charter. And I think that was fun for me.
Yeah, I agree with Lala on that aspect, because that's how we got closer as a cast. We were able to talk to one another. But I do miss the experience of going to an airport and trying to figure out what ticket to buy, and then flying. Like that's the essence of the Amazing Race. And so we didn't have that.
That would have been extra anxiety. I'm okay without it.
It's what everyone's been used to, right? For the past however many seasons, that's how it's been, and they had to change it this time, right? So question that I get asked a lot and that I ask the others is your opinion on Phil.
Phil is a super sarcastically funny and a hard-working man. Like the guy really knows what he's doing. He knows his camera angles. He knows how he wants a shot to be shot. And just he always felt he made everyone feel like, hey, you're last, but you made it. You're good. The point of the race is to just stay on the race. And he was always nice to us. I had a blast with him.
Yeah, he was very quirky, like very quick. You know, he always knew where everybody was and what the problem was when we weren't like
getting along. He's very witty and sarcastic.
Very caring. He was caring too, you know, just very professional and just hard worker. It was pretty dope to see him in action, you know, saying his lines and just being like
he's always on. Like it's amazing to watch.
Are there something I haven't asked is, are there a lot of retakes when it comes to something like that?
Yeah, so since we work in radio, we do a lot of like video editing. We've done some TV, so there is different takes that you have to do for different angles, the wide shot, the long shot, you know.
But that's mainly like when Phil is talking to us, like at the beginning of the race, just to get the shot from the aerial shot. But while we're racing, there's no retake in that. It is just you're going. They're not making you go back to the corner and run back this way. It's on.
Makes sense. Yeah. So I want to jump ahead just a few episodes, kind of get into like some of the cool parts of what you guys did. I want to talk about the bungee jumping experience.
Yes, that is so much fun.
Switzerland.
I always said that I hope that I get to jump off a mountain, a bridge, to do something. I'm not scared of heights, and I know that if that was a challenge, I'd totally be down for it, and I wouldn't hesitate. So when I saw that we were going to be bungee jumping, I told her, I'm like, that's me. That's me. That's all me. I wasn't scared at all. I was a little nervous when they're like strapping you on, because that's when it hits you like, all right, this is real. And they're strapping you so you don't die. But the initial jump, I didn't hesitate. I actually, like, if you look at the video, I kind of like leap off. And I just felt like a bird. I kept my eyes open the entire time. It was such like a freeing moment.
I'm so happy that Lala felt like she was this free bird, because I was literally having an anxiety attack on the sideline, because I would have done the jump as well with no problem, but it's very different when you're seeing your other half leap into an abyss where there's nothing. And I remember telling the producers, I'm like, listen, if this thing snaps for whatever reason, I am jumping right in. It was nerve-wracking. It's like I felt I had no control as to what's going to happen, if something should happen. I did not like that feeling. It was a first for me. I've always been in control in what my environment is. And so it was something like, I mean, I started crying. I don't cry in public. Only those 2 times that you saw in the Amazing Race. So it was fun. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it with the snap of a finger. Yeah, but the scenery was just gorgeous, I was wondering, I'm like, did you open your eyes and see everything while you were flying down there?
I did. I saw everything. It was peaceful.
Yeah. So now here's what's gonna happen. So I just got you guys both happy by talking about that, and now I want to talk about the whole Souvlaki situation. So kind of just switching our thoughts around, right? What was going on there?
When we were in Switzerland, we had our best leg. We came in second. We were at a high. It was amazing. Then we get to Greece, and it's the worst.
It was the worst for me. Souvlaki is not bad. I've had, it's the raw onions for me that I don't like. I have never had raw onions. And the lady just, she really pounded in the onions. And at the moment, it was really hot. We're stressed out. We know we're probably last. Lala had more of a stressful day than I did. She just wasn't, it wasn't her day. It started off
she was in a weird vibe.
No, it wasn't in a weird vibe. It was just, I just knew that we were last, and that starts to play with your head. And then and then I'm driving and we're lost. So I feel the pressure, like I'm failing the team here because I don't know where I'm going. I don't understand anything.
I think we were feeling like defeated. Like she felt like she was letting me down, and I felt like I was letting her down because I'm trying to navigate, but I don't understand at all what anyone is telling me direction wise.
So by the time we get to the Souvlaki,
we also didn't understand. She was saying Souvlaki, but she was kind of saying it with a SH, Souvlaki. And so that's why it took us forever
to learn to ask someone to help us spell it. And
we should have known, since we do live in the tri-state and there's Souvlaki everywhere.
Yeah, there's a diner literally blocks from our house. So it's like, come on, how did we miss this?
And so I knew that my sister at that moment, I'm like, she's having a rough time. I got to swallow this whole thing. Like I have to try to eat as much of it so I can help her out, so she can kind of like balance back her energy.
Yeah, but it was just that. And then we had to eat another one because we didn't figure out that the wrapping was the clue.
Yeah. That made me feel real dumb.
And then that, again, that made us even more angry. So at that point, I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm just so over it.
So at that moment, I remember telling her, listen, we're probably dead last. Let's just take in the views and just enjoy whatever time we have left here on the amazing race. Once I figured out that it was the rapper, I'm like, I can't believe that we didn't figure this out earlier. We had seen episodes that something similar had happened.
Yeah. So,
and so to us, I was like, wow, we lost over this. Really? I cannot believe it.
But it is what it is. We made top 5. I don't think that was so bad. We ran 8 out of the 11 legs. So
I did. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping for Phil to say, you haven't been eliminated. It's a non-eliminating round. Haha. But he didn't say that.
They had too many of those, and they all went to Verna Natalia.
They did. And I could tell in his face he felt sorry for us. Like it's almost like, man, he can't do anything about it. But we had a fun, and we decided to leap into the water just to like cool ourselves off and end our race with a bang. And so we did.
Yeah. Now I want to go back. I had forgot to ask of the maggot cheese in France. What was, because everyone's saying that it what were they saying? They said it wasn't bad, it was just the fact that you didn't have anything to drink afterwards.
Right. Well,
it was very dry.
We get to Corsica and we had to hike to where that cheese was. So we're already thirsty, dying of water, right? And then they give us this cheese with maggots inside, and you see those little suckers crawling in there, and it's very dry. So on top of the fact that you're already gasping for water and air, you have to now eat this dry cheese with dry bread.
Yeah.
And it just made it more difficult to
there was
swallow.
like a tang to the cheese.
It was like
and then the feeling of the little maggots crawling in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea, maybe if they wouldn't have told us that there's maggots, I would have just scarfed it down. But then they put that, and then you actually see it. You're like,
like they make you see the little creatures in there.
Just makes you like automatically gag and know that you have to swallow this thing. It just it
with
made
no
it
water,
harder.
Right? And then the fact that they teased us that there was wine there, I'm like, really?
We couldn't even take a sip of it.
So yeah, I personally did not like it. I will never have.
Well, never say never.
No, I could say that. I'm never gonna have.
Yeah. So the last thing I kind of wanted to ask for being a part of the show is the time where, correct me if I'm wrong, you met up with Phil before completing a challenge. Is that right?
Yes. So when we were in Greece, we got so lost
that we actually got to the map before
the pit stop.
We got to the pit stop earlier. We found the pit stop before finding the Souvlaki cart and the church.
And we saw Kim and Penn. They had already got to the pit
That's
stop.
how far behind we were. Kim and Penn had already made it to the pit stop, and we still were,
trying to figure it out. And so I just remember Kim trying to like give us a hint and trying to help us, you know, to go to the Souvlaki place. And at that point, production was like, you cannot say anything, but she was trying to hint to us to go
it was
one way, and we went the opposite way.
So why wasn't she allowed to? Because like previous,
because once you get to the pit stop, they are no longer part of the race. They have completed the race. Now, if they were still racing, that's different. You could tell each other, you could help each other. But once you hit the pit stop, that's it. Like they had checked in already, and they were actually on their way back to be interviewed. Right. So production was like, no. And then they don't want to get obviously penalized for, you know, not listening and helping us. And we didn't want them to get penalized either for trying to help us out. So it was that frustration where I could remember seeing in her face, like, oh my God, I want to help, but I can't. Yeah.
So overall, what did you guys think of being on the entire show?
The best experience of our lives. We highly recommend it to everybody. If you're able to participate, you know, get in those audition tapes and try to make it onto the show, because although it does involve a lot of anxiety and stress, it is totally worth it, because you are experiencing different cultures and traveling to different countries and doing things that you probably wouldn't do if you were on vacation and with your friends or with your family,
and meeting the castmates and forming that bond. I mean, there's always going to be some type of bickering, because obviously it's a race, it's competition.
It's $1 million.
But after all that is said and done, you look back and you think of the memories and the good times and the funny things that went on, you know, that they didn't get to air. So I enjoyed the Amazing Race. I think back on it, and all I could think of is like good times.
Yeah. Now, knowing what happened kind of like behind the scenes that didn't get aired, were you guys like shocked of some things that like weren't posted, or were you like thankful that some things weren't posted?
There were like two, I think in London, we had to go up the orbit, where it's this big thing where lots of steps. And they completely cut that challenge out completely. So we're like, oh my goodness, we walked up those steps in the rain, in cold weather, and they didn't even show it. Like, why even make us do it? Also, when we were in Scotland, before getting to the making of the bagpipes, we went to another city in Scotland, and we had to like bang these barrels. They didn't show that. And that I thought that was fun. So I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen Arun and Natalia, Mike and Mo, and that big lettuce looking cabbage thing.
That's what that was after you guys came back, right? They had to compete in a separate challenge. I was talking about that with them, and Arun said something like maybe because the way Phil was having to tell you all the rules of coming back and stuff, they didn't have enough time within the 45-minute episode to include their challenge, right? I'm
gonna be honest with you. When Phil was telling us the rules, I don't remember. I don't remember that at all. It kind of like, you know, when someone's talking, but you're kind of like zoned out. I was so concentrated in running to my destination that I'm like, I don't know what this man is saying right now,
but I know what you have to do.
But I know what I have to do.
You're on camera. Just keep nodding. That's it. So one thing we didn't talk about, which I just remembered, that you had to go home for 19 months because of COVID. Now you guys didn't know if you were going to go back. So when you found out you were going back, what was the strategy and preparation leading up to that again?
When we got excited, we were like, yes, we're down. We're not even thinking twice about it. Count us in. We got excited, and then we thought, oh, we need to now really
prep, because we got a taste of what this race is like, and it's no joke. So, you know, we went back to training and running and lifting weights and memorizing the flags all over again, and actually learning how to say different things in different languages, like hello, help, north, south, please, certain words like that. We picked up on little puzzles. We started doing more puzzles, like since we had a horrible time. Apps on your phone where you could like do puzzles. We practiced a lot of those, and that was pretty much it. We were just really excited to be back, because we thought the season was gonna be a wash.
It was kind of confusing, especially for you guys, knowing if you guys were going to go back or not, right? And just basically waiting.
We wanted to know too if everybody was gonna come back. And so when we found out that
certain teams weren't, we're like, oh man, it's not gonna be the same. But we understood, life gets in the way. COVID got in the way, and it is what it is. But grateful that Arun and Natalia and Mike and Mo were down to come back. Otherwise, the season would have been a complete wash.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been. It either would have been shorter episode, like a shorter amount of episodes, or it wouldn't have been able to happen in general because they didn't have enough teams, right?
Yeah.
So after you guys got eliminated from the race, what was going on? And I know you guys you hosted the after party in Miami and everything like that.
After we got eliminated, it was a sense of like,
we were sad and
Very
mad
sad.
at the same time. We're like, I can't believe it. But we were at the same time grateful and a little relief. I'm like, all right, well, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like we don't have to.
but because it was such not traumatic, but such a special season because of the pandemic, there was 19 months in the way and we all were able to come back together and finish it. Lala and I thought we need to do something for everybody. Like, this is such a special cast. I want to see everybody and I want to be able to see the last episode together.
Originally, we were going to do a premiere party, but because COVID, the second wave came, we couldn't do that. So we had to push the premiere party to the
season finale. And so we thought, what better way? Yeah. We were going to do the premiere in New York.
And everybody was down, like Anthony and Spencer, Taylor and Isaiah.
Everybody was going to come.
Even the producers and Phil.
Phil was going to come too. Yeah. And, COVID once again ruined that. So we're like, all right, let's switch gears. Let's do the season finale. And we were able to work with CSC. Everybody was flown to Miami. Put up in hotels, and we got creative and made little fanny packs and stuffed a bunch of stuff in there, like memorabilia of everything we went through the race. We had a block of cheese, we had a rock. Even though we didn't do that challenge, we knew it was part of one of the challenges. And it was just good to see where everybody was in their lives after finishing filming The Amazing Race, to get back and then to actually experience the anxiety all over again at the season finale. It was just wonderful just to kick back and relax and say, hey guys, we did
get to drink, and then we sang at a karaoke bar, and then there was a pool party. It was a very 3 days. It was a nice 3 days of like a reunion and just having fun
and being able to talk to one another without producers telling us not to talk to one another. So it was just a lot of fun.
Now, did Phil come to the season finale or no?
Unfortunately, Phil couldn't make it to the season finale. I think he was busy with
Tough as Nails. And we also invited the creators of Amazing Race and some of the producers, but they were in the middle of casting and scouting areas for
season 34. So unfortunately, they couldn't make it.
Okay,
we had even invited some of the camera crews, but again, they were all busy. So we're like, oh man, it is what it is. Everyone would, saw the pictures and hit us up like, oh, everything came out nice. Congrats.
Yeah. So what was both of your opinions about the final episode watching it?
It was stressful to watch because we know what
it made sense to us, because when we were actually taping the last episode, obviously we were waiting for the 3 teams to come to the mat as we're all on the sides waiting. When Kim and Penn finally got there, the excitement, you can feel it. Like, we were all excited for them. But when Raquel and Kayla came in second, the vibe was kind of off, and all of us standing cheering, we didn't understand like why they were so like upset. Like, we get it, you wanted to place first, but you're in second place on the Amazing Race. It's still really good. So we were kind of confused, like watching the episode and seeing that they were in the lead the entire time.
Okay, I see.
And now it makes sense. I'm like, I probably would have been the same way.
They had it.
They had it, and then last second they get passed by Kim and Penn to end off the entire thing, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I now understand why they felt that way, and I felt horrible. I mean, we wanted the female team to win. It had been such a long time. It's been a long time. I'm very happy for Kim and Penn. They
raced a good race. Like they were so prepared and just on it.
Yeah. And so and then when Dusty and Ryan came in, everybody was happy because they were fun. They were fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
And boy, did we party afterwards when we all got back to that hotel. It was game on. Yeah.
So, what is your life now, like post Amazing Race?
Post Amazing Race, we're back on our show on 103.5 KTU, iHeartRadio. We still communicate with everybody. We were just talking to Kim really like seconds before we got onto this interview. I talk to Dusty all the time,
and I talked to Ryan, Raquel and Kayla.
Coach called me yesterday. We spoke to Arun 3 days ago. Like we always make it our business to at least say hello every day.
Group chat now that Ray and Carol are on X on the beach. Like we're hitting off like, Ray, what are you doing? And like, just, we all just in contact.
So we're just literally we're just grinding as usual at our job. We are working on other things that you'll all find out soon enough.
But when we first initially got back, it was kind of like,
there was like a void in our lives. We didn't have that, that adventure aspect of life.
So we're like,
have we been called to do other shows? Yes, we have. And we'll just have to wait and see.
So that was my next question actually, have you auditioned for anything else, or if they call you back, would you go back on?
If they call us back for like Amazing Race All-Stars, heck yeah, I'm down. I'm not even gonna think about it. We've made it known. We're like, please call us back. We're down for it. For any other shows,
we have been approached, but we have to be smart about the shows that we say yes to, just because we don't want to lose our job here. This is our bread and butter.
And being away for weeks, sometimes it's hard to get someone to cover for you. Sometimes it's hard for our boss to be like,
especially when you're especially being on the radio, when you're every day you're live, right? So you can't really just disappear for a long period of time, unless somehow you were to record days of your off days or whatever. If you were to record like a full day's worth and then kind of just overlap that over the music.
Well, you could do that, but then when it's not gonna sound current.
And also in New York, there's
so many things that go on.
We're union, so you have to be live. If not, they can flag you, or they can penalize you in a way. So it just becomes very difficult to navigate those waters, because you want to do TV shows, but if you're going to be away for 6 weeks,
it makes it difficult for any company to be like, sure, go right ahead.
Doing the race was a little different, because since we were working from home, nobody knew where we were when we weren't here. So we got to, get away with it a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
No, that's about it. Anytime I get to talk about the Amazing Race, I'm always like smiles from ear to ear. We're just very appreciative of all the love that we have been receiving and that we've received while it was airing. And even now, we do get recognized a lot more, which is kind of like rewarding. It makes us very shy sometimes, but it's nice to see that people actually watch the show and they were cheering us on. And that's always nice. And we're very, very appreciative of all that.
And like we said when we started, we do really appreciate what you're doing, because somebody at your age would be, out playing video games. They're not really wanting to do anything. You're ahead of the game. And so we're very proud to see you do your thing.
Well, I really appreciate that. And thank you again for coming on today. I had a great time talking to you too. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Once again, thank you. And to everyone else, all their links are in the description. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.